Welcome to the latest edition of Wargaming in a Cave. I'd like to start today by a big shout out. We have a fan, Melanie. I know you're really enjoying these videos, so thank you for the feedback. As ever, all feedback's welcome. I know the comments don't work particularly well, if at all, but I'm on Facebook on the Napoleonic group, and I'll post a link in there. So any feedback, stick it on there and I will see it. Over to the game. Right. It is 1809, May the 22nd, and we are refighting the Battle of Aspen Essling. Excuse a few Russians that have crept onto the table. We didn't quite have enough Austrians, but I will do a quick walk by and then come back and give a brief, better explanation as to what's happening. So these are the French lines. As you can see, this is Essling. No, Aspen. Would help. I got it right. I'm only defending it. French deployed in and around the church. Ignore violent. We ran out of French commanders, so he's masquerading as a Frenchman today. Here we have the French cavalry, ready to be led by Lasalle, which I've only just realised I'm playing, and I would have painted the figure up. And here is the Emperor. And I'll just focus on these briefly. You can see Martin's freshly painted 1st Battalion of the Young Guard, which are exceptionally nice. Over onto the right, we have the legions of French cuirassiers. And yes, I know they're Dutch Carabiniers. There are French Carabiniers for the day. The French and Essling Granary. The tricolour being proudly displayed on the top. And let's take you through the Austrians. So this is the 5th column, filled up with Russians, but close enough. And then 4th column. Let's see the granary from the other side. And then on to 3rd column. Massed ranks of Austrians. And then we come to the Archduke. I'll just turn him around. Here we go, Archduke Charles. Doubtless with his surrender terms in place. And then on to the other 2 columns. Over on the right flank. Some nicely painted hussars. And now facing off against Aspen. I keep getting around the wrong way. Anyway, we're about to start. We're playing GDA and updates to follow. The end of turn 2, and yeah, it has been quite stressful, as the Archduke Charles has just said. Here the French artillery have seen off the first attack from the hussars. However, the Austrians are getting ready to mount their assault on Aspen, and you can see the defenders of the church are starting to suffer from that artillery fire. In the centre, the Austrians have pushed forward their cavalry, although the unit on the left has suffered quite heavily so far. The French artillery have equally suffered from a very effective artillery assault from the French horse artillery. So at the moment it's a bit of a Mexican standoff between the cavalry units. We'll see what happens in the next turn. In the centre, the Austrian columns are coming on. They've caused quite a few casualties with their artillery fire. But the French are holding at the moment. In the centre, French cavalry not yet deployed, waiting to see, I think, what the Austrians do. And at Essen, the defenders coming under pressure, and they were hesitant in the last turn, but they still currently holding on, and the unit itself defending the granary only taken 1 casualty. The Austrians though are, as you can see, getting themselves into position to launch that assault. And There we go. End of turn 2. Back shortly. Let's see. Zoom in on Charles. There we go. End of turn 2. As Nightmare, Lascelles has rolled a 3 for his charge against the Austrian 12. Now was beaten back, and just as the Austrians launch their assault, that's all right. On
fall back behind.
And the Austrians here, Austrian cavalry, have been thrown forward in an effort to intimidate the French, and they're doing a very good job.
There's no effort to successfully.
First battle for Aspen Church has seen a large Austrian unit driven off.
Temporarily.
Temporarily.
All right, George. Phone in when you're ready. All right, see you, George.
Not without casualties to both sides. The French having suffered 4. The Austrians are up to 7, but there are plenty more Austrians ready to launch more assaults. Over to Essling, where the mass columns of what look like Russians, Austrians are about to assault.
5th column.
Archduke Charles, any comment before you start rolling?
Success.
Essling village, no, it doesn't quite fall, David. There's part of it has been captured. Part of it's been
brick up the
captured.
granary such that not even a fly could get out.
And the French have been forced out of the built-up area at the rear of the granary, and the Russians, masquerading as Austrians, have forced their way in due to some excellent dice rolling. How long can this luck continue for the Austrians? So at the end of turn 4, the French are still in control of Aspen, just about. The Austrians pressing all the way round. To the right, the French were unlucky with their cavalry charge, and then they had to retreat directly in front of that very unpleasant horse battery of the Austrians, which inflicted more casualties. In the centre, the Austrians have been exceptionally bold with their cavalry, and the next turn could well see major developments in the centre. The Austrians are massing as well around Essling, and they have captured part of it. Will the French be able to retake it? They've got their cuirassiers lined up now. Napoleon, I'm sure, has a cunning plan to see us through the afternoon. Charges are going in left, right and centre. Here, the Austrian heavy cavalry charging against this French line of recruits, but somehow the recruits have stood, inflicted some casualties on the way in, and will be going to melee. Interesting. Right, over to the next charge. Archduke, where are you going?
These are the top cavalry of the Empire.
And what are they doing?
Charging. I think they can only get that lot. 21, yes.
French artillery has been dispersed as the Austrians occupy. Is that the walled garden, Martin?
Yeah.
It is, in Essling. Only the granary remains.
The cherry pickers.
Only the granary remains.
So just leave the
The video's on, gentlemen. So you joined us at an important moment. Unfortunately, the Austrians have just captured the church at Aspen. The French have been driven out, unfortunately, but I'm sure they'll be back. Bad news steaming in from Aspen. The Austrians have occupied the cemetery. Oh dear.
Well, they've got 2 out of 4.
Is it all over for the French? Time will tell. Just completed turn 5. The Austrians occupied 2 strong points in Aspen, including the church and the graveyard. French defenders have fallen back. However, light cavalry have had some success and driven off an Austrian brigade, but the village is what counts. In the centre, the Austrian dragoons fell back. However, these Austrians far more successful, causing that French unit to be very badly damaged. driving a wedge through the French centre. French cavalry lining up to counterattack over here. At Essling, the Austrians have captured the redoubt, the walled garden, but the French are finally active and look like they might counterattack. Over here, this brigade of Russians masquerading as Austrians have lost a couple of units, so are in problems, have problems. It'd be interesting to see what the French cuirassiers do in the next turn. A quick drive by around Essling. Essling defenders up to 5 casualties in the granary, so they're still holding on. A traffic jam of Austrians massing ready for the assault. Archduke Charles has created his own paddock, I see. They're French cavalry, the most advanced of the army. The Austrians pouring round the side of Aspen. End of turn 6, which has been a momentous turn that's seen lots of action. We'll start over here at Aspen. Welcome George, who's joined us again for the second day. He just launched an assault on Aspen, which was very fortuitously repulsed and only just, although the unit defending the built-up area is now high on casualties. The Austrians are still pouring forward, reinforcing Aspen and looking to control the whole village. In the centre, the elite French cavalry finally stopped being hesitant and rode down the Austrian horse artillery and have caused that other infantry unit to retire. The Austrians are now hinged, which is always interesting. Over in the centre, there was a huge cavalry action which saw the destruction of the lead units on both sides, although the French have come out on top. And the Austrians have come out on top and the French have had to rout. At the granary, the attack was seen off, with the defenders valiantly holding on. However, the French attempt to retake Essling village was unsuccessful, and equally the redoubt held out against an attack. And over here, these brave Russian, nay Austrian gun crew have seen off guard elite cuirassiers, much to everybody's amazement. But there you go, that's dice rolling for you. More to come. So time unfortunately is run out on us. Aspen is currently contested, but I suspect the French may have had a good shout of taking it back. But bad news at the granary that the dastardly Austrians have put their flags back on the granary. It's a disaster. The tactical victory for the Austrians, but a game well fought. Any comments from the Austrian players, George?
No.
No? Archduke Charles, do you have a moment for the camera?
Yeah. Exhausted.
Exhausted?
It's been a pleasure massacring French.
and to the careless Napoleon for losing the granary? Well played, Martin. Well played.
Right, let's take a picture with both flags.
And that is it from the cave.